Hi, welcome to my latest video. This morning I'm going to do a quick video on cold starting of my Land Rover Freelander 2 diesel. It's the 2.2 diesel TD4E engine. This morning it is bitterly cold. It is currently, let's have a look, -6. Okay, so the UK has been in the grip of a big freeze for about a week now. All you Canadian viewers are probably watching that thinking -6, that's nothing, that's a warm day for us. But here in the UK, especially where I am, down south in Hampshire, -6 is a cold one. My car has not liked that cold weather at all. It really has struggled to start below about 0 degrees. I've started it once at -1, but anything lower, that's it. It just cranked over but would not fire. I've had the battery checked, I've had the starter, the alternator, everything is fine. The battery's quite new and I've charged it up as well, but the car just wouldn't ignite the diesel, okay, and I've tracked the problem down to the glow plugs, okay. So the glow plugs are little heater elements that come on in the engine below, sort of usually below about 5 degrees C. The exact temperature they come on is a bit of a mystery, but it's usually around sort of 5 degrees +5 or lower they will come on. Some people say they come on at -5. I've seen them actually coming on at +7. So the car will work out if it needs to use them. But because the rest of the year they don't get used and aren't needed, you never actually find out they don't work until a morning like this. So I've checked the relay down in there. Let's have a quick look under here just to point that out in case your relay is faulty. There's also a fuse, so I'm going to pop this quickly, lift off that. Okay, let's put my little light on so we can get some light going. So the relay for the glow plugs is that one there. There is a chart here. There we go, it's the curly wire one there, R4, okay, and there's also a fuse, okay, which is F4, somewhere there it is, F4. Okay, so the fuse is one of these special fuses down here. It's actually the middle one here. There's a little barb which you need to sort of prise out a bit there. This cover slides upwards and comes off, and then you can get a meter to do a sort of resistance check across the fuse. It's a big, I think it's a 60 amp fuse or something like that. The relay's rated 70 amps. Okay, so the fuse is one of these big bolt-in kind of ones with a nut on each end, but that makes it actually easier to get a meter sort of across it and measure it. The fuse is fine on mine, the relay is fine. What I did also, just to test, is I swapped relay R4 with relay R6, which is a heated screen, which I know works. Okay, so R6 is, I think it's this one here, I think that's right. Yep, I think it's that one. That's R7, that's R10 for the horn, which I've removed because I've rewired my horn for the air horns. Okay, so that one you can swap with that one, and that will prove if it's the relay or not. Newer cars, so the newer facelift models, so 2011 onwards, don't have this relay here. They have a control module. Okay, so they have you'll often see it advertised as a relay. I think it's actually a solid state device, but that will vary the current applied to the glow plugs. The older models, the pre-facelift like mine, 2010 or earlier, the glow plugs are 12 volts and the relay just turns them on or off. Okay, well, on the 5-volt glow plugs, on the later models, the current is controlled by probably by a field effect transistor or something like that. There's a control module, and the control module is up here. It's bolted underneath here somewhere. Let's put that down. Goes down in here, I think it is. And I'll put up a picture of the control module on the screen now just so you can see what it looks like. I've got the old 12-volt glow plugs. If you are changing your glow plugs, then don't fit the 5-volt in the 12-volt car. They'll burn out straight away, okay? So just be aware of that. There are 2 different glow plug numbers. I'll try to put the part numbers at the bottom of the screen now. I'll try to look them up and put those at the bottom of the screen now. So what do you do if it's freezing cold and your glow plugs aren't working? Okay, so I know mine are not working. I've measured the resistance from the relay output to the engine block, and it's open circuit. Okay, so none of the 4 glow plugs are working. Each glow plug is 1 ohm roughly. I think it's 1 to 1.2 ohms. So 4 in parallel is roughly 1/4 of an ohm. Okay, so that's why it draws such a high current. 12 volts, 1/4 of an ohm. Ohm's law, we get 48 amps. Okay, so that's a lot of current to be pulling out of the battery when you are trying to start the car. Okay, so what you really need to do if your glow plugs are working is you want to let the glow plugs heat up first and then try to start the car. Now on older diesels, that's what you do. That's what you have to do on a cold morning. You let the glow plugs heat, you wait for the light to go out, and then you start. Now, I put up a video a couple of years ago showing that technique on this car. So what you do is you get in and you don't press the clutch or brake if it's an automatic, and you just press the start button. Okay, and that allows the glow plugs to warm, and then you start as normal after a couple of seconds once everything's heated up. And it also allows the self-test processes to finish, and the current associated with those. Okay, so the car will draw a bit of current when it's just getting everything powered up. Okay, so let all that finish, then try and start the car, and then the starter motor's pretty much got the battery to itself. Okay, so when I put that video up, I had a lot of comments, some quite rude actually, but some people said, you're an idiot, you don't have to do this. Some people said, you're an idiot, you do have to do this. Other people said, the car will work it out for itself. Well, okay, so it definitely works. I'll tell you that. I've been using it for years, and loads of other people swear by that method. Okay, there is a certain element to the car will work it out argument. Later models will delay the start whilst the glow plug heats up. Okay, earlier models don't seem to do that. Okay, so some people see it and some don't. Mine doesn't seem to do it, so I have to sort of do a delay manually myself. Okay, so what I will do now is I'm going to demonstrate that method. Okay, so I'm going to get in the car and I'm just going to start it using the 2-press method. If the glow plugs are working, then the car should start. Okay, so let's give that a go. And we'll see what happens. Right, so foot off the clutch. Mine's a manual. If yours is an automatic, keep your foot off the brake. Press that, and you're looking for the glow plug light. You see that little curly thing? Okay, and it's gone off. Then you can start, push the clutch down, cranking over, but it's not starting. Okay, it's not starting, it's not having it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a little trick. Okay, so we all have heard of this stuff, all right? So this is Bradex or Holt's. It used to be made, yeah, originally made by Bradex. I think Holt's now make it. Easy Start. Okay, so this is a very volatile, flammable gas or liquid that turns into a gas. I think it's got a lot of ether or something in it. Something very flammable and explosive. On the back here, it does, interestingly, it says for diesel engines you've got to spray it in whilst cranking the engine. For petrols, you spray it in and then crank the engine. Not totally sure why that is. If you know, please comment. But it might be due to the difference with the sort of the throttle body. So petrol has a proper throttle body butterfly, and the air controls effectively the speed of the engine. On a diesel, the throttle body, even on a car like this, a modern car, the throttle body is not really a true throttle body. It's designed to improve shutdown of the engine. Okay, so the speed on diesel is controlled by the fuel. Okay, so that might be the reason for that. It might also be due to the way a diesel works with much higher compression. I successfully started my car using this the other day, and it really kind of made a bit of a knock and sort of bang kind of noise when it finally fired up. Okay, it wasn't a nice sound, and the engine did settle down, but since then, when I sort of wrote about that on Facebook on the Land Rover off-road group, a lot of people have said really use this as a last resort. Okay, now here's a screenshot from the Holt's website which says it won't damage your engine. Okay, but I've had 10, maybe 15 people say they've heard of engines being damaged. Okay, so piston rings break, pistons hold, and also some people say that the engine can sort of somehow get addicted to it, so it kind of needs that every time then when you start. I don't know quite how that would happen, but yeah, it's a sort of thing to use with care, really emergency use only. Now, I also was told that you could use this. Okay, so this is brake cleaner. So I think that stuff's got a lot of ether and things like that in it. This is, I think, is xylene. I think is the chemical in this. It's not quite as volatile, still flammable, but it really comes out as a liquid and will then make a vapor. But it's just a sort of tamer version of Easy Start. Now, the thought of using brake cleaner to start an engine sounds a bit strange. Apparently it works. And it's less, you don't get so much knock when the engine finally fires up. Okay, so it's less damaging. So I'm going to give it a go. I'm intrigued to know if we can start this engine using brake cleaner. Be pretty amazed if it does work, but we'll try it and we'll see. And I thought I'd try it and film it for you guys to see as well. If this works, that'll be great. If it doesn't, I'll have to go back to this stuff, but we shall see. Now, where do we spray this stuff in? Okay, so let me move round to the other side. Okay, so we could put it in the air intake, which is actually here. Okay, that's a long way from the inlet manifold. Okay, it's got to go all the way down and up through the filter, round there, down there. You probably won't have this blue ducting. You've got a black plastic duct instead. Doesn't matter, same thing. I've just replaced mine with silicone hose, only because the factory duct leaks oil and the blow-by gas from the engine. So I've done that, but it's the path length to the inlet manifold still the same, and the Easy Start vapor would have to go all the way down through the turbo, round the front of the engine, through the intercooler and back up and in. Your car would probably start normally before it actually gets there. Okay, so what you could do is remove this clamp here and squirt it in here. Now, I tried that the other day. It did start eventually. But it took a while. Okay, so a better idea would be if we could spray it in much closer to the engine. So on the TD4 Land Rover engine and some other diesels, there's this pipe here. This is the exhaust gas recirculation pipe. The idea of that is it takes a bit of exhaust gas and sort of feeds it into the inlet charge, and it's done for emission reasons. Okay, so it lowers the combustion temperature, less nitrogen oxides and that kind of thing, which is sort of harmful greenhouse gases and that kind of thing. So I've blocked mine up, okay, because I believe the engine runs a bit better. I've done a video on that. It's actually my most popular video of all out of the 120 videos that I've done. The EGR blanking video is now currently it's sort of like 90,000 views in a couple of years. Okay, so the reason for that is it applies to all other cars as well, not just Land Rovers. Okay, so a lot of people are watching that who have other makes of car. But what I've done is to blank that off with a metal plate between this pipe and the throttle body here. I'm going to call it throttle body. It's actually an air control valve body, but we'll call it the throttle body. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen these nuts here and this bolt here to allow this pipe to be just pulled away. And then I'm going to spray. First of all, we'll try our brake cleaner. And if that doesn't work, I'll try the Easy Start, but we'll spray it directly into the throttle body so that it's really close to the inlet manifold there, and go straight into the cylinders and should do its thing and start the car quite easily. So I'm going to give that a go. You will need to remove the engine cover. Okay, so that is two 8mm bolts there, so an 8mm socket. I've just put the bolts back in just to keep them safe, but that cover, you undo it here. There may well be another bolt at the back. I don't have that one because I've got this different ducting, but there might be a bolt which attaches the factory duct to the cover. Okay, so you might need to undo that as well. And then it just pops off. There are a couple of sort of these sort of popper things here. Hopefully you can just about see that there. There's a sort of dome-headed or round-headed sort of thing which it just pops off. Okay, so once that cover is off, you then need a 10mm socket, and you can undo these nuts. Okay, now I'm going to be really careful here because I've got gloves on because it's so cold. I don't want to drop these. Okay, so I'm actually going to remove mine completely. You just got to be really careful because if you drop them, you never find them. So I'm going to reach in. Right, that's the other one. Now also, there's a bolt here which you need to undo, and that, if you don't undo that, the pipe can't be moved. Come on. Right, okay, there's that. Okay. Right, so this can now be lifted away a bit. You don't need to pull it right out. Okay, so what you do need is to lift it enough so that you can see into the throttle body. Now I've got a blanking plate there, so I'm going to try and carefully move that away. I'm just going to stop filming for one moment. Okay, there's the blanking plate. Okay, it's a little thin stainless steel plate, and that just stops that exhaust gas going in. I've done a separate video on that, so I'm not going to go into the pros and cons of fitting one of these now, but I'm just showing you that I need to remove that in order to get in and spray this in. Okay, so let's give that a go. That's all I'm putting in, not too much. All right. And now I'm going to put the blanking plate back in and then put the nuts on. I'll leave the bolt on the bracket off for now, but if I leave this hole open, it's going to mess up the airflow metering. Okay, so back on, tighten it back down. Okay. Right, okay. Let's give this a go. I don't know if this is going to work, but we shall see. Let's try and start. If this works, I'll be really impressed. Right, let's give this a go. Yay! It's running. Oh. Bit of smoke out the back there. That's just from the unburnt diesel, but it's running. Okay. If the engine doesn't start with brake cleaner, then you will need to use Easy Start. This should be used as a last resort. Don't use too much. But it did work in the end. It did work. Now, the sun is coming out, and hopefully things are going to warm up a little bit. I'm going to let my car warm up and recharge itself, melt the frost that's all over it. Well, I hope that video was useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe from a cold but sunny UK. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.